I mean, it was kind of, I don't know, I can't think of never going to school without other ethnicities.
The biggest benefit of this program is being surrounded with like-minded people who are passionate about education, about the importance of language and culture and how that forms such a critical part of who we are and who our students are.
By taking this program, I thought that it would help prepare me for other cultures and not have too many cultural expectations, but to broaden my mind and have a better idea.
What the master's does for me is kind of help me not only with my lesson plan, so it helps me write, with a social justice lens, but it also helps me provide, a equitable education.
It has helped me a lot with my daughter and what I want to teach her, especially to make sure that both the Spanish language and my culture is very much a part of her upbringing.
Talking to other people that are having the same experiences as me, I learn from them. I take ideas back. I just go back to school with more energy and having that sense of this is why I'm here.
Reading some of the course texts like Pedagogy of the Oppressed, now we gain knowledge to make changes, not only within ourselves, but for those whose lives that we're going to be affecting as teachers.
The epiphany I had when I started taking all these classes at Fresno State was, wow, how it must be anything other than Anglo. Sitting in a class, you must think you've done nothing. And what that might do to somebody's self-esteem. I mean, that could be, we talk about all these things that lead to kids dropping out or becoming disinterested in school. That could be one of them. If you don't see anything that represents you in school, why do you want to stay and be part of that?
The fact that Paulo Freire was able to ask the question, the importance question of how of literacy, and how does literacy impact who we are in this world. And so his work was very instrumental in being able to be critical about education, critical about community and society.
Two groups of EL students. You have EL students who have started kindergarten not knowing English, and they had to learn English to learn how to read. And then you have the EL students who learned how to read in Spanish first in kindergarten. And so you can see kind of how the disparity between their ability to read.
English learners is in some ways has a negative connotation to it. Many students now, because of the literature we're reading, we're more comfortable with the term emergent bilingual, where it now has a positive slant to it, where we're recognizing the fact that the learner is already bringing a language.
This is my second year teaching in a dual language school, and I discovered that I was not prepared to, be a teacher in a dual language school. I think I have much more to learn about this, what it means.
Say what I want to do, but my goal is to continue teaching in the bilingual education program because I've seen how it positively impacts the students. If they learn how to read in their native language at an early age, their literacy is better in both languages than the English language students who are in just a traditional English-only classroom.
A lot of it has helped me to put an actual term or terminology to what it is that is occurring, and it's made me, I think, a lot more aware of my surroundings, my cultural surroundings. So
I look at like Los Angeles Unified, it's the largest school district in the state, and they just, they're in 2017, they're going to start requiring ethnic studies as a graduation requirement. And to me that makes total sense because when I read the news and watch things, and it seems like whenever there's some kind of dust up or some kind of incident, they immediately do all this, getting to know you kind of stuff, and we need to have more learning more about each other and all these. Why wait till something like that happens? Why not just remove the problem and just have everybody learn about it? And I have this really strange theory that the more we find out about each other, the more we'll find out that we're all pretty much the same.
When I started the program, I kind of thought multicultural education, that's just kind of talking about different cultures in class because that's kind of how it's presented at schools right now. I didn't think of it as actually changing the curriculum so students can see themselves in it every day instead of just like, oh, it's a special month, let's learn about this group of people. It's something that you can do every day to enhance interest within the students.
I want to use my knowledge that I've gained from my master's, my knowledge I've gained with arts integration, and combine it and bring more global awareness to our students, have them become the global citizens that I've learned in the master's, and for them to become more aware of the different cultures and the different languages so that we can finally become that society that is acceptable to all the multiples.
It's going to take us in knowing as teachers to know who our children are. There's no recipe to follow. There are some guidelines and some things you take with you, but you never can assume that all children will learn this way. They're all individuals, and as a result, you're going to have to tailor to who those children are.
Understand what's happening in California. I know what's happening now, and I know about educational policies and how they may have affected, certain communities. And that now I know that, in order to provide an equitable education, you have to understand your students. So
I could go out and start an organization that I could use my degree to, found that or to start the organization to help students or to preserve a culture or to preserve language. Or I could go and teach at a community college.
I became very vocal about my opinions about bilingual education and how important it is, and my frustration with how it's not available to students. And in the Central Valley, it's not available to Hmong-speaking students, which I'm learning a lot about this year because I'm teaching in English, so I have both Hispanic and Hmong students, and I see that there's not an equal opportunity for my Hmong students to acquire literacy in their native language in comparison with their Hispanic peers.
Through the Turnaround Arts program, I have become an early childhood education coach within California. There's 3 of us in the 10 schools, the northern, southern, and on the central region. With that, I am coaching my colleagues at my campus how to integrate arts in the classroom. With my master's program, I am hoping to use what is a multicultural education program, what can that look like, through the use of art, by showing images that are going to cause a conversation that is usually ignored.
So I would like to, my evil plan is to, from this program, use what I learned to start in Fresno Unified, maybe at the middle school level, to try and spread the ethnic studies program. But then Superintendent Hanson told me if I needed anything to give him a call. I think I'm going to take him up on that. And I'm going to start bugging him more about bringing the program back and making it district-wide, and let's make it a graduation requirement.
It's titled Discussing and Addressing Cognitive Schemas. So I'm using multicultural classroom activities to discuss stereotypes and prejudices and discuss the validity of them. And although we all have stereotypes, in our head, are they accurate, and are they positive or negative?
My current research also deals with my personal experience as well. I reflect a lot of things back to when I was in college, and how my transition from high school to college, that transition or stage was really difficult for me. And so I wanted to look into developing a program, or how we can develop a program to help first and second generation Southeast Asian or Hmong students to transition from high school into college.
So my project was a case study into classrooms, kindergarten classrooms, because I wanted to focus on the early childhood education. So I was looking at how arts integration affects the engagement motivation of our emerging bilingual students in the classroom, since the majority, which is usually almost 90%, are emerging bilingual. So I really wanted to see how does it affect them, because there is a lot of research out there that talks about how it increases their comprehension skills, their vocabulary, all of that good stuff. But I really wanted to focus on the engagement and motivation, because we're always struggling, like, how are we going to engage them? How are we going to motivate them to want to keep learning? And how are we going to excite them on what we're teaching? So arts integration really fit in. And so that's what I was observing in my project.